You are watching Business Day Television.
Good afternoon and welcome to Inside Politics on BDTV. I'm in your Bonky Walk. Today on the program, we'll be assessing the 2-year administration of President Bola Tinubu. How has the administration fared? Since assuming office on May 29, 2023, on the mantra of Renew Hope agenda, President Bola Tinubu has taken tough decisions to reposition the Nigerian economy. The administration did not hide its intention from the start by implementing sweeping economic reform policies across the sector. Reforms such as removal of the fuel subsidy, which had taken petrol prices low for decades, ending the central bank financing of the naira, financing of the fiscal deficit, and floating the naira have been embarked upon by the Tinubu's administration. Despite criticism from Nigerians, the government said the reforms were necessary to correct the country's public finance. However, 2 years down the line, economists say the measures have come at a cost for many ordinary Nigerians. Many of them are experiencing the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Many Nigerians say the reforms has not yielded the needed gains so far. To assess the Tinubu's administration, policies and reforms, and the state of the nation, I'm being joined by Wumi Biwaji. He's a lawyer and former minority leader of the House of Representatives. He was in the House of Representatives from 1999 to 2027. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good to have you.
I'm your viewers.
Yes. Tinubu
My pleasure.
Yeah, the 2 years in office of the Tinubu's administration, so much were promised in 2023 when they came on board. The renewed hope agenda. Nigerians were promised stable power supply. Of course, they said they will reform the economy. How do you assess the administration?
Well, thank you. The administration is doing fantastically well. Fantastically well. Going by, what the Tinubu administration inherited in 2023 from the former president. The reforms that were implemented, especially the twin reforms of the unification of the exchange rate.
Yes.
And that of the removal of subsidy. So these two reforms have had a tremendous effect on the general architecture of the economy, so much that today we can say that the economy has tanked out. The worst is over, and Nigeria is on the trajectory of growth and prosperity. So I think I will give the government a pass mark for that.
But many people, many Nigerians, analysts, economics say that not much has been felt in terms of this reform. People on the street, Nigerians on the street, if you look at of course, many people actually think this reform, one of the reasons why this reform has not actually worked because a lot of them were implemented at the same time. Maybe the government if they had been gradual in the way they went about it. Of course, we saw what happened last year when inflation went up, the cost of living went up. Inflation went up as far as 34%. But it has come down to about 23% as at March, according to the NBC. But many Nigerians feel that these policies, they have not seen any significant improvement in their lives.
No, anybody that says he has not seen any improvement is telling lies. What we have going on in Nigeria today, we have a huge macroeconomic reforms that is going on. For example, the unification of the exchange rate. This has led to the removal of arbitrage in the economy. Nigeria was paying billions and billions and billions of naira. That's amounting to, a huge chunk of the entire economy into private pockets in the name of special packages for some privileged individuals. And these individuals are the ones who are now taking this foreign exchange and going into the exchange, the market, and then changing it into naira. So the thing is this: when you have reforms of this nature, of this magnitude, these reforms must have consequences, and the initial consequences may not be so palatable, but in the end, you are going to get results. And we can already see that we are already getting results. Nobody can deny today that Nigeria now has a very strong fiscal buoyancy. From a paltry budget of 18 trillion, 17 trillion, now Nigeria is budgeting around 50-something trillion. Very ambitious, people will say.
Yes.
But then the revenue projection for Nigeria is so huge now that today, gradually we can say that we are getting out of revenue problem. What we now probably need to focus on might be our monetary policy. Now, are we going to talk about the student loan, which this government has implemented?
But some of these, if I'm totally sure, the student loan have not been a success. We saw some of the controversy that emanated from that recently. The student loan, if you mention the student loan have not been a success. Look at the controversy. Look at the scandal that emanated from.
Even in the US, there is no scandal. You are bringing in a new program. Of course, there are people in the university, the university administration, who must also think that, maybe they can take something, they can rake something off this process. So when you are bringing in a new program like this, it must have a kind of teething problems.
There was no proper...
Like some students are getting the loan, they are not even aware that they've been credited.
Yes, that means there was no proper coordination.
Yes, it is for the people managing the program to look at the whatever problems they might have and then fix it. But that will not remove the fact that thousands of students are now benefiting and billions of naira are now being pumped into this. And students who might not have had opportunity of going to school are now in school, and then they are even being paid allowances. And we can only be able to do this because we have the money.
Let's look at power supply. Let's look at power
Nigeria
supply.
is implementing the.
Let's look at power supply.
Yes.
There have been significant
Power
increments
supply.
in the nation have improved, but we've seen tariffs have also gone up. But the supply, a lot of Nigerians say, is still not where it should be. Power supply is still
not
really
perfect.
very, very poor.
There is nobody in this country today who will say that power supply was the same way it was in 2022 or 2021. In a community where I live today, we have an average of 20 to 23, or sometimes 24 hours of light. Sometimes we have light for a whole month.
But that means you are paying heavily. Are you on band A?
Yes, I'm on band A. Yes, I am paying. But you cannot say heavily. I know how much I spend on my diesel before this stuff came, and I still have my generator. So, but it's for me to now choose. If I have to choose between fueling my generator, I'm paying 200 and something per kilowatt. I think it is still far cheaper to pay
Do you think
what I'm paying
this
to
ban
band
A,
A,
ban B is something that the government
uh,
should think of retaining, like
yes,
considering a lot
it
of
is still
Nigerians can't
far
afford it?
cheaper, and it is available anyway. It is available.
But we keep hearing tariff increase in the power sector. But a lot of Nigerians think service has not actually improved. That we can't begin to use this ban A, ban B system. It's not something that the government should continue to rely on for a very long time. Considering that most Nigerians can't really afford it, and power is not something that you should.
Well, you see, when we talk about you have to balance affordability with availability. The people that are providing the power, they are spending money, and it is not the responsibility of government to provide electricity to your home. Even for those of us that we lived abroad, we went to school abroad, you charge your card, and if you run out of power, you run out of power. Government is not going to power your house.
So the government is on track.
And then you buy the amount that you can afford.
So what you're saying, the government is on track in that sector.
Afford.
Yeah, what you're saying, the government is on track in the power sector.
Yeah, the government is doing very well, because if you cannot afford band A, you could probably move to another band which you can be able to.
Let's look at
another.
let's look at security, for example. The state of insecurity in the country has over the last few months. We saw the killings in other parts of the country, kidnappings. Look at what happened in North Central, Plateau, Benue. Don't you think the government should have probably handled these issues more better? We saw these are issues we know that have been occurring in the previous administration of Jonathan Buhari. But it appears a lot of Nigerians expect that the Tinubu's administration should be able to nip this in the bud, tackle this issue of security. But it appears the government
can anybody in all fairness say that either of Buhari or Jonathan did better than Tinubu has been doing in the last 2 years? That would be false. That would be false. This government has done so much. Of course, Nigeria is a country of almost 1 million square kilometers, and a country of almost 230 million people.
Yes.
So there's no way Nigeria can secure every inch of its territory, and the government is trying its best. And when President Tinubu spoke about local government reforms and all of that we should take funding back straight to the local government. That was what the government meant. That, you see, the local government itself has a role to play when it comes to security. No community can be more secure than it wants to be secure. Today, we now know the secret. And the secret is basic, that there are communities where some locals are serving as informants to insurgents. So when it comes to that, there is little that the government can do.
Why is the government not killing? State police. We know Tinubu has been an advocate of restructuring, even when he was governor of Lagos State. One wonders why is the government not doing enough in centralizing the security of the empower governors more? Let us have state police, which governors, stakeholders have said is the way forward in tackling security in the country.
Yes, the National Economic Council is discussing the idea of state police, and the National Assembly is working on the legislative architecture of a state police. And I think at the end of the day, we are going to come up with a state police architecture. But I think that I was one of those that canvassed for state police over 20 years ago. But then the matrix has changed. And what has changed really now is that, if you want to talk about state police, you want to talk about the financing. You don't want, a state that is hardly able to pay salary cannot now really like have its state police, and you are not going to give guns to people, AK-47 to police officers who is being owed 2 months, 3 months salary. That will be a recipe for chaos. And that was what the president said. The first thing we need to fix the problem of financing. So when we fix that, today now, we now know that the states are getting financially better. So the states are now getting into a situation whereby they can be able to finance state police. But then my own idea of state police now might be in form of a regional structure, not maybe a state by state thing.
Regional structure, probably have the southwest, just like what we have in the southwest, yeah.
Yes, we can have a regional structure. So a particular commissioner of police, maybe a commissioner of police from Lagos State might be brought from Ekiti State. And commissioner of police in Oyo State might be brought in from Lagos State.
Before
and
we
the financing will be
our time is fast. So what advice will you want to give the Tinubu administration? What do you think? A lot of people, cabinet reshuffle has been talked about in recent weeks. What do you think Tinubu administration, President Tinubu should be doing? As he clocked 2 years and 3 years, what do you think if you had to advise him?
My advice would be for the government to stay the course of the reforms. The reforms are working very well. We have started to see results. Inflation rate is dropping. Inflation rate is coming down. We have the tax reforms, which is also coming on board, which is going to improve the revenue of the country tremendously. So I believe that the government should stay the course and not deviate from the macroeconomic reforms.
A lot of people believe the Tinubu administration do not have the right people in office. Some of the ministers are not really. Some of them we hardly can hear what they are doing there. Don't you think cabinet reshuffle should part of the agenda of this government?
I don't really think that in any institution, even at the National Assembly,
yes,
the people that are the shakers and movers of the National Assembly are less than 1% of the people that are there. So in a particular cabinet, maybe not more than probably maybe 5% of that cabinet will be doing very well. But then the fact will be that if the majority of members of the cabinet are doing fine, and the leadership of the cabinet is doing fine, I don't think there is need for any cabinet at this point. I don't think there's any need for any cabinet. No doubt about it. Some ministers are doing wonderfully well than others, but by and large, I think all the ministers are doing fine.
You were in the House of Rep at the beginning of the Fourth Republic. You were there from 1999 to 2007, and there's so much criticism about the present crop of federal lawmakers that we have, especially the Senate. A lot of Nigerians feel they are rubber stamped. Anything the president bring, they just pass it without that check is not strong. What is your take?
Anybody talking about describing this present National Assembly as a rubber stamp is being ignorant. The job of the National Assembly is not to antagonize look, when you say a governor has performed, like when you say a fashioner has performed in Lagos State or a Tinubu has performed in Lagos State, people forget the fact that governor or president or whatever will need has had the support of the parliament. So when you see a Tinubu and a National Assembly working hand in hand together to implement all these reforms without any acrimony, I think they should be praised rather than condemned. So I think they are doing wonderfully well by working with the executive, doing the job that they have been elected to do. They were not elected to fight or to antagonize the executive.
But what people are saying is that it's not everything the president brings, they should begin to borrowing. We see, and everything. What we are seeing in recent time is that everything the president brings, borrowing, they just approve.
Wait, the president brought student loan. Do you expect the National Assembly to say no to student loan? The president brought tax reforms, the tax bills. Do you expect them to say no? Of course, they will have the input.
It's not that.
You bring a budget, the president will bring a budget estimate, and then the National Assembly will have its inputs. So, and that's the three arms of government, including the judiciary. They are arms of the same government, and they have to work hand in hand in order to deliver.
What is your take in we've seen the defection of politician to the ruling party in recent weeks ahead of 2027. Everybody's moving towards APC. Even the National Assembly, I think we have only 30 senators who are of the PDP now. It's alarming. A lot of people talking about APC planning to foil the one-party state on Nigerians. What is your take on the state of wave of defection and the state of opposition politics?
I think the only thing that is alarming is the people that are raising the false alarm.
Really?
It's only false. Yes, false. That is what is alarming to me, because when you look at our constitution, we will not talk in isolation of the constitution. The constitution has provided a multi-party democracy, and that's why you have INEC. What's the job of the INEC? The job of the INEC is to register political parties, and you have so many political parties. And I don't know if any of those commentators have actually done any study on why people defect. There are more than 5 reasons why people will defect.
Don't you think there's a problem? There's a problem when you are elected on the platform. You are elected on the platform, or midway you dump that platform to another party just because you would see that party is more juicy. Isn't that a problem? We should block that loophole. Isn't that a challenge you think?
Juicy. No, juicy is just one. But look, you have a particular a state, a whole state, like Delta State, for example. The governor, the senators, everybody. So everybody decammed. So yes, everybody decammed. Everybody. So in that case, will you say, in all fairness, that the people elected you abandon them, and then you are going into look, the thing is that the major reason why you are political party, if you study the constitution, the major reason why you are in a political party, for God's sake, is for you to be able to attain power, to be in office. If you are in a party, for example, and that party, as we speak, we have like almost less than 1 year into elections, and you are not even sure who is going to sign your forms to INEC.
Yes.
You are not sure who is the authentic chairman, who will be the authentic secretary. You are not sure if it goes to court, how it will be resolved. Maybe after the election, somebody will tell you, the person that signed your form is not the authentic one. The authentic one is the one that signed the other form. If you are a politician and you want to run for office, definitely you want to go to a party that is stable. So that you can be sure if you run for election and you win, it will not be challenged, it will not be nullified by the courts.
So the defection are justified. Like you are saying the defection are justified because there are problems in the opposition party.
There are many reasons why somebody will want to leave his party and join another party. Not necessarily because nobody is being forced. But
the opposition politicians have said it is the APC that is instigating problem in this PDP NNPP and other parties.
That is false. That is false. I was leader of opposition for 4 years in parliament. That is false. Nobody forces anyone to come and join another party.
They said they have been coerced to join APC.
Nobody can coerce you to join. I was a minority leader. Even within that minority, we have so many of our members that decamped from our party and decamped into the PDP. And so many of these people now saying nonsense. None of them said anything at that time.
So you do not believe that Nigeria is in danger of one-party state?
The Alliance for Democracy that I headed lost so many members. Lost so many members at that time. And nobody said anything.
What we are
so
seeing
what
now
nonsense
is that,
are they saying?
What we are seeing now is that the opposition are weakened as compared towards 2027. Although Atiku and El-Rufai have been trying a lot to form an alliance, a coalition ahead of 2027. But with the way it's going, President Tinubu may just have an easy ride towards win 2027 presidential election. Isn't that a problem when a sitting president in a country like of Nigeria have an easy ride like that towards I mean, it's not the process is not competitive enough. Isn't that a problem?
That Rufai you are mentioning,
no,
was Rufai not part of the APC? That Rufai was it not part of the APC? Did Rufai not move? Was he not part of PDP?
He fell out.
Did Rufai not move from PDP to APC, the president, and now moving from APC to SDP?
Yes.
So suddenly, Rufai has now become a look. The thing is that Rufai left APC because he was not able to become a minister. If Rufai had been appointed a minister, would he have left the APC? No, he would not have left.
So you are not afraid that Nigeria is heading towards one-party state?
There is nothing like one-party state. The party structure in Nigeria is governed by the 1999 Constitution. And the 1999 Constitution says, Section 222 says, Nigeria is a multi-party democracy. Multi-party democracy. As we speak, we have registered with INEC over more than 30 political parties are registered. And INEC has now withdrawn their registration certificates and they are participating in elections.
All right, let's move on. You have always been
people do not.
I've spoken with you several times. You have always been an advocate of restructuring. You believe that the genesis of the problem that we face, the economic problem we face in Nigeria today, is because of the structure. And without restructuring, there may not be any headway. And of course, I've spoken with a lot of stakeholders too. The leader of Afenifere Renewal, it was here. It was here some. He said, without restructuring, Nigeria can't make any headway. Do you still hold that view that restructuring is something Nigeria must do?
Of course, we must restructure. There is no way. We must restructure. The only way, out of, just some moments ago we spoke about state police.
Yes.
Then there was this idea of local government in a proper federation. Why? What is local government doing in the federal constitution? I've never read any constitution in the world, a federal constitution that has written into it provisions relating to local government. So we have to restructure. So we can postpone the evil day, but it will always, the schism present within the Nigerian democracy, where you have the North working against the South, the Middle Belt working against the core North, and all that. The only way to resolve everything will be to restructure the country.
A lot of people say that
the country.
A lot of people say that the issue that is about the constitution, that we need a new constitution.
Yeah, we need a new constitution, but I am not an advocate of demonizing the
And
1999.
they say the present constitution is faulty,
the
and that's the
1999
genesis of all our
constitution.
problems. The Patriots met some weeks ago,
I
Anyoko and Co, and they said,
I don't think so. I don't think 1999 constitution is our problem. A constitution that has safeguarded our democracy for 25 years. 25 years of uninterrupted democracy.
but so look at democracy, but we have seen the problems that we've had. We've seen the problem that we've had. Even the current president admitted several times, even when he was governor and then after governor, that restructuring is inevitable. Even the committee set up by the APC, headed by Rufai, some years ago, admitted that restructuring was something that the government must do.
We must restructure. What I am saying is that you cannot blame the 1999 constitution for whatever problem you are having with Nigeria's democracy. You cannot blame the 19. This is the same constitution that has guaranteed us uninterrupted democracy for over 25 years. Over 25 years. That document should not be demonized. It should not be demonized. If we say there are areas we can improve upon, there are several areas we can improve upon. But definitely, this constitution is not as bad as people are portraying it to be.
All right, finally, what is your take on the coalition? If you want a minute on the coalition plan by Atiku and other position to challenge President Tinubu in 2027?
It is dead on arrival. That coalition is dead on arrival.
Why do you say so?
The 2027 election is over. Is over. Bola Tinubu will be re-elected with a massive majority.
But he's losing support in the north.
On election day.
But you can never be sure. This is 2025. You can never be sure what will happen.
Bola Tinubu is not losing support. Bola Tinubu went to where in the north. The Northwest caucus of the APC just had their conference where they unanimously endorsed the president. The president just some few weeks ago went to visit Buhari, and on the streets of Katsina, people lined up the streets. To welcome President Tinubu into Katsina.
Yes.
And several other this elder statesman, I've forgotten his name now. I said, some people will make noise. Some disgruntled elements in the north will make noise, but they are not majority.
But you know, but
they are minority who lost out in the power equation.
What we are hearing is that Atiku want to make Obi the vice president. Are you not bothered? Isn't this if Atiku make Obi a vice president, it could be a major obstacle to Tinubu, knowing how popularity Obi is, or the Obedient movement. Atiku and Obi ran in 2019. Yes, yeah. 2019, yes.
So what is new in Atiku being president and Obi being vice president? There's nothing new about it. We have had it in 2019, and they were roundly defeated. And let me tell you this, 2027 election is going to be a different ball game. You now have a Bola Tinubu as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There is no naira change now. No naira change.
The opposition are afraid that
INEC... No working with some...
The opposition are afraid that INEC will not be... INEC will not do
the APC to sabotage Bola Tinubu.
Thank you very much, sir. Our time is up. Thank you very much.
As far as I'm concerned, the 2027 election is done.
Thank you very much, sir. I've been speaking with Wumi Biwaji on Inside Politics. He is a lawyer and former minority leader of the House of Representatives. Thank you for joining us on today's program. My name is Inyo Bongiwo. Stay tuned to BDTV.
You are watching Business Day Television.